All right, so we might as well get started now. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's session on what it takes to get into MIT. All right, so today we're going to be obviously introducing MIT. Then we're going to talk about how MIT views your application. Then we're going to follow that up with more information about its financial aid packages. Then we're going to talk about data from its common data set. And this refers to the data set for applicants to MIT. After that, we're also going to talk about some sample student profiles using 2 students. And then we're going to transition into Q&A after we're done presenting. All right, so MIT is a private land-grant research university in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Since being established in 1861, it has played a key role in the development of modern technology and science, and has made its name as one of the most prestigious and highly ranked academic institutions worldwide. More than 85% of undergraduates engage in frontline faculty-led research to explore new intellectual frontiers and attack important societal problems. So that is one of the reasons why MIT has such a huge focus on research. It's a research university. There are over 30 departments with experts for this research, and MIT also takes part in a wide range of global collaborations and has many relationships with industry to further its research. And it continually develops organizations and partnerships that foster interdisciplinary work. It has boundless opportunities for such research. So in summary, MIT is a really good research university, and they also emphasize interdisciplinary research. All right, so now let's transition into some well-known majors. So one is aerospace engineering. There's also bioengineering and biomedical engineering. There's biology, chemical engineering, computer science, electrical and electronics engineering, materials engineering, mechanical engineering, mathematics, and physics. So these are some of the most widely recognized and popular majors at MIT. So with its reputation as a STEM school, this list shouldn't be a surprise. But MIT's humanities majors are nothing to scoff at either. They're also pretty good.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about MIT's acceptance rate. So MIT has an acceptance rate of about 7.3%, with 2.44% coming from regular decisions applications and 4.72% of them coming from early action acceptance. Keep this in mind. We can already tell that MIT applications are very competitive. Its average GPA is 4.7%, making it a very academic heavy school. Also, please keep in mind that it has a solid academic career and is crucial for an applicant. However, MIT does not rely solely on grade. It also looks at other things. The MIT officers also review the application holistically. This basically means that they do not factor just your GPA into the school. They state or compare your applications to other students. MIT mainly relies on your GPA, standardized testing, course load difficulty, and extracurriculars, as well as your letter of recommendations and personal statements that are submitted through the MIT portal.
I just want to make a quick correction here. MIT's acceptance rate is 3.96%. This is the overall acceptance rate of MIT, and its average GPA, like each applicant's average GPA is 4.17.
Okay. So these are the average scores for students who are accepted into MIT and SAT. Who are accepted to MIT based on their SAT and ACT scores. So the average MIT scores for math are 790. Reading and writing is 745, and making an overall composite of 1535, which is a pretty high SAT score compared to the average. And the 25th percentile of accepted scores are 780 for math, 730 for reading and writing, and 1510 for the composite score. And as for the 75th percentile, it's 800 and 780 for reading and writing, with a composite score of 1580. So the MIT average SAT scores vary for math, which is 35 and 36, for reading and English, which is also 35 and 36, for science 34 and 36, giving an overall score of 35 and 36. Okay, So, throughout the pandemic, MIT has announced that they would be making the submissions of standardized test scores optional. However, recently they have announced that once again they require applicants to take the SAT or ACT, reversing this COVID era policy that made the standardized testings optional. So, the Dean of Admissions claims that the research shows that the standardized tests help better assess the academic preparedness of all applicants. The dean goes on to claim that the SAT and ACT is a single tool among the factors in granting admission into this prestigious college. He acknowledged that this can be a source of stress, but affirmation that acceptance to MIT is not a measure of worthiness of a person.
So MIT is similar to a lot of other top schools when they say that they also consider the person's character a lot when considering whether they're going to get admitted into MIT. So MIT stresses on their admission site that the most important thing to remember is that at MIT we admit people, not numbers. So this shows that in addition to academic excellence and academic rigor, MIT is looking for students who have really good character and display traits such as courage, creativity, curiosity, which is like intellectual vitality, and each student is considered on their own merit. So MIT has no quotas by school, state, or region. They don't favor legacy or alumni students, which means that if you have parents or you have a long line of ancestry of people that went to MIT, they're not going to consider that when they are looking at your application. They're only going to look at what you have done and whether you deserve to go there. At MIT, what ultimately really matters to us is who you are and what qualities you bring to the table is what they say. So that's quoting MIT, which really shows how much they value character in addition to having really good academics and extracurriculars and so on. So it's important to consider that you're displaying all of that if MIT is one of your top choices. So make sure you have a balance in both character and academic excellence. So next we're going to be talking about early application and regular decision. So at MIT, the early application deadline is on November 1st, so it's already passed for this year. And early action is a non-binding contract. And what this means is if you apply for MIT with early action and you get into another school and you want to go to that school instead of MIT, but you also got into MIT. So you got into both the schools. MIT is not going to force you to go to their school. So if you wanted to go to the other school, you are free to do that. So it does not force you to go to their school if you do go with early action. The results for early action applicants is mid-December. And last year, the exact date was December 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern. So you can be expecting your application decision to be released at around that time. So once you get your application, there are a variety of different things that you might hear back from them. So some of those things for early action specifically are accepted, rejected, or deferred. For regular decision, the application will be either accepted or rejected. It won't be deferred. So what deferred means is that your application is not going to be accepted or rejected. It's kind of just postponed to the regular decision pool. And the admissions officer's goal with deciding that your application was going to get deferred is giving you a second chance at getting into the school, because the admissions officer was looking for more in your application, and they essentially want to give you the opportunity to be able to provide more information so that you can be compared to the rest of the applicants in the regular decision pool, which gives them more context for your application. So for example, they might be giving you extra time to improve your grades or something like that, so that you're able to add to that factor, which might give you a better chance at getting in. So it's kind of postponing your decision, so it'll get reviewed after January 5th, which is when the regular decision applications are due. Now we're going to be talking about the financial aid process. So the most common type of financial aid is the MIT scholarship in regards to MIT. So if you receive one, it's essentially a grant, which means that it does not need to be repaid. So it's not like a loan or anything. They're giving you money. Scholarships are awarded based solely on financial need for the scholarship and come from endowment, gifts from MIT alumni and friends, and MIT general funds. So this is all fundraised, and it's not like they're taking money, they're providing money for this. It's basically just people giving them money out of their generosity. So about 58% of undergraduates receive MIT scholarships, and the average MIT scholarship was 53,997 for 2021 to 2022 applications. So federal grants mean that you'll automatically be considered for federal grant programs when you apply for financial aid each year. So if you're eligible, they'll include the grants in your financial aid award. So if you are from a lower class family, this might be something that you would be interested in if you're applying for MIT, because it does give you a lot of money and funds that you might not be able to get. So definitely make sure you're looking out for that if you might struggle with paying the tuition funds.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about some example student profiles. So one of the students we have is Sanya Karwa. She took the SAT in March of her sophomore year, which is 10th grade. She completely self-studied the entire thing and got a 1550 plus, and the SAT is out of 1600, so it's a pretty good score. Her extracurriculars were she did math and science Olympiad since elementary school. School clubs, she did the AMC, she did the math counts and the math leagues. For AMC 10 and 12, she qualified for AIME. She's a founder of Counts of Math, which is, I think, a club. For the club she was part of DECA, Speech and Debate, CS First, Technovation, Math Club, AI Club. And then she also started junior year focusing more on leadership, continued math clubs, and became a part of the linguistic club. As part of research, she was a part of the ASDRP program and conducted a project on algorithmic bias. She ended up publishing this work and presented her research at the SCCUR 19 conference. She also did the USCF Innovations research internship, and then did independent research project on AI and MLA. If you want to know more about her advice and tips, we did do a session with her, and the link for the video is on the slides, so you can check it out at any time.
So in this, another applicant that we had was Ruth Liu. This was actually last admission cycle, where Ruth got into MIT for her major. She did say she was gonna go in for computer science, and so in terms of her academics, Ruth was a 4.0 GPA throughout high school. She became a salutatorian at American High School in the class of 2022, which basically means that there's a valedictorian and then there's a salutatorian who falls right underneath the valedictorian status. So she's a very high achieving student in the high school. For the SAT, she did self-study and she received a 1570, which is also an incredible score. She mentioned how in her extracurriculars, she did Science Olympiad, AI Club, co-ed education, and then academic competitions throughout her high school career. And she mentioned that in her high school path, she was the president of Science Olympiad in 12th grade, and she became the co-head of the coordinator team in co-ed education. Competed in the USICO and AMC competitions, along with qualifying for the AIME competition as well. Additionally, she did the independent project on her own, which was the Bird ID bot, which conducted, and then she also connected many other smaller extracurriculars. And here again, if you want to know more about Ruth, this is a YouTube video that we did a session with her, where she explains more, she gives more advice and tips regarding her thoughts on MIT and how to get in. So moving forward, what can be taken from these two applicants? What we know currently from both of these applicants, what we can see is that they both have very solid they're very solid academic students. They have both very good GPAs, good grades. SAT score is extremely high. It's pretty high up there. In terms of their extracurriculars, we also know that MIT is STEM heavy, and it's a STEM focused university. So both Sanya and Ruth, they're both part of Science Olympiad and qualified for the AIME, which Science Olympiad itself is a very, very, I guess, like STEM heavy, where it focuses on science, chemistry, math, all that. And then the AIME exam is from the AMC exam. The AMC exams, top qualifiers who pass the cutoff qualify for the AIME, which is a very competitive math exam and science exam. This shows to the colleges that they're able to cope with rigorous classes along with competitive extracurriculars and time-consuming extracurriculars. Additionally, in these exams, both the AMC and AIME, they both perform extremely well, which is a good source of the colleges to show that they can compete at MIT's rigorous classes. One more thing that they both did was an independent project of their own. Both of them had a project to display the colleges more about themselves and their personal interests. So moving on, why did MIT accept both of these students? So when applying to a college like MIT, it is very crucial for students to have a very solid academic career. And if this is not the case, it's still okay because you can explain to MIT why your grades weren't the best in maybe your supplementals. But I think it's definitely required that you try balancing your lower grades with a stronger SAT score and very, very good extracurriculars. So now that we talk about extracurriculars, we can mention that it's okay to, or it should be good to stay focused on certain extracurriculars that relate to your major. And you can definitely try achieving that. And you can try achieving leadership positions in those extracurriculars, which definitely helps in the admissions process, because when colleges look at your portfolio and they see that you were in your extracurriculars starting 9th grade, and then they see like that longevity, and they see how you went from a person that was a club member and went to a position, a presidential position, or some sort of club officer position. It shows them that you're genuinely interested in the club itself, and also shows that you're trying to create an impact in your school, especially like a club like Science Olympiad, which is so prominent in schools like all over the Bay Area. So it shows that you're a very competitive student and that you are a leader. Of course, all colleges want to have leaders in their school, right? So MIT is very, very high up there for that particular list. Additionally, both of these students, they did like a passion project or like a research on their own. And what you can get out of that research or that passion project is that it shows a college like MIT that you're very interested in a particular topic. Like, for example, Ruth, she did her bird ID bot, which is basically identifying birds with her IDs. She showed how she was very interested in birds and how she used her knowledge in the science and her engineering like background with her coding skills to create a particular thing that impacts the society in her way, which was sort of extremely unique. Like, a lot of these students don't know what's actually unique to the admission officers. So that was something that was extremely unique to her that a lot of students haven't created or haven't even heard of, which shines out to these admission officers. Similarly for Sanya, she did her research opportunity and she conducted her or whatever research paper that she had, which was published online, which is also a unique factor. Not a lot of students have their research published online. And also an extra thing that you can take from these two applicants and from any college, for example, is trying to show your personality in your supplementals or your essays. So you can briefly describe to these colleges how you fit for the college, that you're the right person to get accepted into that college. And these are some factors that are very, very influential, very helpful for a college like MIT, which will significantly help your chances in getting into college like MIT. And we have both of the videos online on our YouTube channel. So we'll send on this link to you guys in the chat right now. Please subscribe to us. So whenever we post new videos, you can look at them. We have a lot of informational videos as well as session recordings for sessions that you might miss, and definitely invite your friends and families to it. And I think now we can transition to the Q&A.